Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you like this episode, please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment or two, then subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications of whenever we release new videos. Also, please remember to share them to your social media.
Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. Today's episode takes us to the quiet hills of Job, West Virginia. Nestled in the Appalachian Mountains, spring brings mild weather and vibrant life to the forest. The landscape is dense with towering oak, maple, and hemlock trees, their leaves freshly green as they emerge from winter's slumber. Beneath the canopy, mountain laurel and rhododendron bushes bloom, their flowers dotting the undergrowth in pinks and whites. Wild blackberry bushes sprawl across the forest floor, attracting wildlife, from deer to black bears. The Porterfield family, living in this rural setting, was familiar with the beauty and danger that the wilderness held. It was on May 19, 1901, that their three children, Mary, age 3, Willie, age 5, and Henry, age 7, set out to gather flowers in the woods near their home, unaware of the tragic event that would unfold. The Appalachian region where Job is located is one of the oldest mountain ranges in the world, with a rich biodiversity. The forest surrounding the Porterfield home was filled with wildlife, deer, foxes, birds of prey, and of course, black bears. The lush undergrowth provided ample cover for animals to remain unseen by humans until they were close. Streams and rivers cut through the landscape, providing not only sustenance for the wildlife, but also natural pathways utilized by bears and children. In the early 1900s, the black bear population in West Virginia was relatively stable. Black bears are native to the region and had been present a long time before settlers arrived. The state's dense forest provided an ideal habitat with plenty of food sources and space to roam. Bear populations were estimated to be in the tens of thousands at the time, although no formal tracking existed until much later. Job, West Virginia is still a rural community, and in 1901, the area was home to very few families, with each household covering several acres of land. This low human population density meant that bear encounters, while not unheard of, were infrequent and often nonviolent. The Porterfield family was well known in the small, close-knit community of Job, a town that relied heavily on logging and farming to sustain its residents. The rugged mountainous terrain was both beautiful and perilous. Families like the Porterfields often coexisted with wildlife, and encounters with bears, though usually benign, were not uncommon. Yet in 1901, the community had never experienced a bear attack of such ferocity. In May, the forest would have been full of life, with new growth emerging after the winter. Black bears, which are omnivores, would have been foraging for food as they emerged from hibernation. Bears often scavenge for berries, roots, and small animals, but they're also opportunistic and will consume whatever food they come across. Though not typically aggressive, a bear could easily feel threatened by a sudden encounter with humans, or could be drawn closer to human activity by the smell of food. Mary, Willie, and Henry were typical children of the time, raised with an appreciation for nature and a sense of independence. They spent much of their time outdoors, exploring the hills and valleys near their home. On that fateful day in May, the children left the house to gather wildflowers, as they often did, laughing and playing as they wandered further from their home. With no adults accompanying them and no means of protection, they were vulnerable to the dangers that lurked in the dense forest. As the children collected their flowers, they were unaware of the danger approaching. Black bears in the Appalachian region are typically shy and avoid human contact, but under certain circumstances, they can become aggressive. It is unclear what provoked the bear to attack the Porterfield children. It may have been surprised by their presence, or possibly hungry. Whatever the reason, the attack was swift and brutal. When the children failed to return home by dusk, their parents became alarmed. A search party was quickly formed, comprised of neighbors and family friends. The search lasted through the night and into the early hours of the morning. It wasn't until the next day that the remains of the children were found, their bodies showing clear signs of a bear attack, and each child had been partially consumed. The tragic discovery shocked the entire community, and the search party, now grief-stricken, turned its attention to finding the bear responsible. At the turn of the 20th century, life in rural West Virginia was marked by isolation and a strong reliance on community. Towns like Job were small, and most families lived miles apart. People depended on each other for survival in emergencies, and the Porterfield tragedy was no exception. When the word of the missing children spread, the town rallied to organize such efforts, with men from surrounding homesteads and farms joining the search party. The search party that found the children's remains did not stop until the bear responsible for the attack was tracked down and killed. The bear, an adult male in good condition, was shot within a few miles of where the children's bodies were discovered. No cubs or other signs of stress, such as an injury or scarcity of food, were found near the bear, making the attack all the more perplexing. Speaking of cubs, our Cub Tier membership on Patreon, link below, will give you ad-free early access to our episodes, and the $3 per month goes a long way in helping me continue to produce educational and entertaining content like this. The tragedy left the Porterfield family devastated and sent shockwaves through the community, changing the way families in Job interacted with the wilderness around them. Black bears are known to be solitary and elusive animals. They generally avoid humans, but there are several reasons a bear might attack. In some cases, a bear may feel threatened if it is surprised, especially if cubs are nearby. In other instances, a bear may be food-stressed or sick, leading it to act more aggressively. In the early 1900s, there was limited understanding of bear behavior, and many attacks were attributed to random chance. Today we know that bear attacks are often preventable through proper precautions and education. However, in rural areas like Job, there was little access to this kind of knowledge, and the communities relied on their own experiences and traditions to stay safe. After reviewing the facts surrounding this episode, I'm left with a few questions for you. What factors might have led this black bear to attack the children, despite the lack of any apparent threat? Could this tragedy have been prevented if the children had stayed closer to home, or if they had been better educated about the dangers of bears? What can we learn from this tragedy that applies to modern interactions between humans and wildlife? I will gladly read and reply to your thoughts, so post them in the comments section below, and let's talk about it. Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. Today's episode takes us to the Blue Ridge Parkway near Asheville, North Carolina. The parkway winds for 469 miles through parts of Virginia and North Carolina, connecting Shenandoah National Park to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Over 13 million visitors annually flock to see the autumn foliage. The elevation here ranges from sea level to over 6,000 feet high at Mount Pisgah. The entire parkway is a bear sanctuary, meaning there is no hunting season within its boundaries. In recent years, the bear population has been bumping into more and more people, and some of these altercations don't end well. The authorities have euthanized 4 bears in recent years due to them presenting a threat to human beings. The mountainsides of the parkway are packed with oak and hickory trees, tulip and buckeye trees, as well as ash trees. Evergreens here include fir and spruce trees. Common animals here include white-tailed deer and wild turkeys, which are pursued by bobcats, coyotes, and black bears. Near Asheville is where the Folk Arts Center is, near Haw Creek. The grassy areas near the center are a favorite picnic area for locals and visitors alike. On the evening of Wednesday, September 29th, 2021, a couple, whom we'll refer to as Bill and Cindy, were enjoying each other's company while picnicking. Bill and Cindy lived near Asheville, and along with them they brought their dog, whom we'll call Sarge, who was a German Shepherd mixed breed. Sarge demonstrated the alert and protective hallmarks of the breed, and was a great companion on their adventures. Now, park rules require any dog must be on a 6-foot leash, or the owners face a $50 fine, but Sarge was allowed to wander the area off-leash. While the couple were eating their meal, Sarge began to bark, but this wasn't his normal, playful bark. It was a determined and alarmed bark that drew Bill and Cindy's full attention. As they searched for the source of Sarge's angst, a medium-sized black bear came into view. It was clearly aggravated by Sarge's presence, and even more so by his barking. Bill and Cindy knew they had to intervene and immediately called for Sarge to return to them, and as he did, the bear followed him right to the couple. Now this is where the bear's intentions behind its actions have to be discussed. The bear had plenty of directions in which to flee, but it took a direct route toward Bill and Cindy. The aggressive behavior of the bear caught Bill and Cindy off guard, and they weren't sure how to react. As the bear began loping toward them, following Sarge, Bill and Cindy rose to their feet. They yelled at the bear, trying to scare it off, assuming it would turn and go back into the woods. Bill and Cindy's vehicle wasn't very far away, and they decided to make their way toward it as they backed away from the bear. The angry Bruin leapt toward Sarge, but Bill intervened and was gashed on his head from the bear's claws. He continually stepped between Cindy and the bear to ensure it didn't get a hold of her. With each step they took backward, the bear would lunge forward and bite and claw Bill. The more they retreated, the more enraged the bear seemed to get. It leapt toward Cindy and clawed her arm as she held Sarge's tether, and Bill ran interference. Continuing their retreat moved them closer to their vehicle, but each time they fought running, the bear would inflict painful gashes and bites on Bill. Upon reaching their vehicle, Bill and Cindy jumped inside and pulled Sarge in as well, but the bear wasn't satisfied with having injured them and chased them off. This strange event mired Bill and Cindy in a horror movie plot twist. The angry bear continually tried to enter their vehicle, pawing and biting at the windows. In its fervent attempt to get at the couple and their dog, the bear climbed on top of the car, searching for a way to get a hold of them. Locating his keys, Bill started the vehicle, and the trio fled from the bear. He drove himself and Cindy to nearby Mission Hospital. Cindy was treated for slashes from the bear's claws. Bill received treatment for bite and claw wounds to his arms, hands, and head. As he struggled to hold back the bear, his shoulder was also dislocated. Sarge was uninjured during the melee. Wildlife officers immediately set about investigating the causes and circumstances surrounding this bear attack. They swabbed the bear's blood and saliva from the couple's car to gather DNA for comparison to samples from any other bear they could catch in the area. Several large culvert traps were set out around the area to catch the bear before it could attack again. Over the next several days, the picnic area was under observation. The investigators knew that the bear didn't have an ear tag or radio collar, so it had no record of being a problem bear. Catching it would answer a lot of questions, and it was determined it would need to be euthanized and examined. All efforts to find the bear were fruitless, and the search was eventually abandoned. Based on information provided by the couple, authorities determined the bear was young but not a yearling. They didn't have enough information to determine its sex, but estimated it to be around 200 pounds in body weight. The bear may have been responding to the scent of food brought by the picnickers, but no cubs were observed in the area. Speaking of cubs, our Cub Tier membership on Patreon, linked below, will give you ad-free early access to our episodes. And the $3 per month goes a long way in helping me continue to produce educational and entertaining content like this. North Carolina is home to an estimated bear population of 7,000 to 8,000 black bears over its 48,607 square miles. This is a bear density of 1 bear for every 6 square miles. Black bears in North Carolina are the largest black bears in the world, posting a 50 to 100 pound larger average size. There's never been an unprovoked attack on a human being by a black bear in North Carolina. After reviewing the facts surrounding this episode, I'm left with a few questions for you. Would you consider bringing along bear spray or a firearm on your next picnic? Did Sarge instigate the bear attack, or did he prevent it from being worse than it was? Why did this bear continue its attack on the victims instead of fleeing? The next time you're enjoying a charcuterie board, will you be glancing around to make sure there isn't a bear sneaking up on you? I'll be eating my cheese and meat inside from now on. I will gladly read and reply to your thoughts, so please post them in the comments section below, and let's talk about it. Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. Today's story takes us to the beautiful but wild forests of Trempealeau County, Wisconsin. This area is known for its dense woodlands, rolling hills, and abundant wildlife. The region's forests are dominated by oak, maple, and pine trees, with an understory rich in dogwood shrubs, hazelnut bushes, and wild raspberry plants. These woodlands provide a perfect habitat for a variety of wildlife, including white-tailed deer, coyotes, wild turkeys, and dangerous black bears. The climate here features cold winters and warm, humid summers, making it an ideal setting for a wide range of plant and animal life. It's in this environment that Dalton Roach, an avid outdoorsman and professional baseball player, faced a harrowing and nearly deadly encounter with one of nature's most powerful predators. Dalton, a 25-year-old from Unclear, Wisconsin, was no stranger to adventure. When he wasn't playing professional baseball for the St. Louis Cardinals AA affiliate in Springfield, Missouri, Roach could often be found outdoors, hunting deer, or enjoying the natural beauty of his home state. In the fall of October 2021, Roach was eager to take part in another hunting trip, setting out into the woods of Trempealeau County for what he believed would be a routine deer hunt. Little did he know that this outing would turn into an encounter he would never forget. With his bow in hand, Roach climbed into the tree stand, located about 20 feet above the ground, waiting patiently for the time to pass and deer 30 to arrive. The thick forest canopy around him was quiet and serene. Roach had been deer hunting many times before, but this trip would be anything but routine and enjoyable for the young sportsman. As the day progressed, Roach noticed a dark shadow filtering through the forest approaching him. Much to his surprise and excitement, a black bear, estimated to weigh 250 to 300 pounds, appeared and began wandering through the woods, seemingly unaware of Roach's presence. The bear moved slowly, seemingly at ease, as it explored the forest floor, probably searching for acorns. Roach, fascinated by the bear, decided to take out his cell phone and record the spectacle. After all, seeing a black bear in the wild was a rare experience for him. The bear continued to meander through the woods, moving closer to the tree where Roach was perched. The bear showed no signs of aggression, and at first, Roach felt no immediate danger. However, that changed when the bear veered directly toward his tree stand. As the bear approached, Roach put his cell phone away, sensing that the situation was becoming more serious. He could hear the distinct sound of the bear's claws scratching the tree bark as it began climbing the tree. Roach craned his neck to see what it was up to, but couldn't get a good view of the bear. Before he could react, the bear was directly beneath him, scaling the tree with surprising speed. Roach remained still, hoping that the bear would climb back down, but to his shock, the bear continued its ascent. Within moments, Roach could feel the bear's breath on his back. The bear reached the tree stand platform and placed a massive paw on Roach's lap and pressing into his thigh as it examined him from behind. Peering at the bear from the corner of his eye, from only inches away, the hunter's brain was spinning as an overload of adrenaline poured into his bloodstream. He could see the bear dip its head and felt a jolt of pain flash through his body as the bear drove its teeth through the flesh in the middle of his back. At that moment, Roach's survival instincts kicked in. He knew he couldn't do anything other than bluff the bear at this point. Deciding to act, Roach turned around on the hunting stand and made himself appear as large as possible, raising his arms wide and shouting at the bear. Startled by Roach's sudden movement, the predator hesitated and leaned back, seemingly confused by the unexpected reaction. Roach continued to yell, trying to intimidate the bear, and to his immense relief, the bear began to climb back down the tree. However, the danger was far from over. After descending, the bear circled the base of the tree, watching Roach with an intense gaze. It seemed to be thinking of climbing up again, and then rethinking the option. Though it appeared the bear had retreated, Roach knew that black bears could be unpredictable, and the bear's lingering presence made him uneasy as blood trickled down his back from the gaping wounds. In a moment of quick thinking, Roach nocked an arrow, his only means of defense. With no bear spray or firearm at his disposal, he knew that his bow was his last line of protection, should the bear attack again. As the two stared each other down, Roach silently debated to himself if he should shoot the bear or wait to see if it leaves. He feared angering the bear might bring a renewed attack, so he waited for it to make another move toward him. Roach decided to call a friend for assistance, asking them to drive their truck as close as possible to his location, knowing that his best chance of escape was to avoid being in the woods after dark. After several tense minutes, the bear began to slowly meander back into the timber, disappearing from sight. Once he was sure the bear was gone, Roach climbed down from the tree and made his way back to his truck, grateful to have survived the encounter with only minor injuries. The bowhunter sought and received medical treatment, which included cleaning the puncture wounds and administering a tetanus shot, as well as preventative rabies injections to ensure that there were no complications from the attack. Despite the trauma, Roach remained optimistic, expressing relief that the encounter hadn't been more serious. "I'm pretty fortunate that it's not some big nasty bite that took off half of my back," Roach said afterward. He described the area around the bite as tender, but he knew that it could have been much worse. In Wisconsin, there are an estimated 24,000 black bears, and the state is divided into several hunting zones. Wisconsin's bear hunting season runs from September to October, with hunters using both dogs and bait in designated areas. While bear encounters are not uncommon in the state, attacks like roaches remain rare, especially ones involving such close proximity. The bear attack was chalked up to the bear being curious more than anything else by authorities. It wasn't defending an obvious food cache, and no cubs were seen in the vicinity. Speaking of cubs, our Cub Tier membership on Patreon, linked below, will give you ad-free early access to our episodes, plus pictures, and the $3 per month goes a long way in helping me continue to produce educational and entertaining content like this. Wisconsin is home to one of the largest black bear populations in the United States, with bears primarily inhabiting the northern part of the state. The population of black bears is estimated to be around 24,000, and the state spans an area of approximately 65,000 square miles. This puts the bear density at roughly 1 bear per 3 square miles. In the last decade, there have been only a handful of recorded bear attacks in the state, with the majority of encounters being non-lethal. However, as human activity encroaches on bear habitats, and bear populations increase, the likelihood of such encounters increases. Dalton Roach's terrifying encounter with a black bear serves as a reminder that even experienced hunters can find themselves in life-threatening situations in the wilderness. After reviewing the facts surrounding this episode, I'm left with a few questions for you. Could Dalton Roach's encounter have ended differently if he'd been carrying bear spray or a firearm? Would these tools have prevented the attack or made it safer for him to escape? What drove the bear to climb the tree and bite Roach? Was it curiosity, hunger, or simply an unusual behavioral response? I will gladly read and reply to your thoughts, so post them in the comments section below, and let's talk about it.
Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking on the like button and clicking on the bell icon. We'll help you know when we post our new episodes. Posting our video links to your social media profiles furthers awareness, and it's fun. We slashed our prices in our merch store, linked below, so check out the bargains there while you shop. As a member of our human community, remember to adventure bravely and be careful out there, especially in bear country.